to mind is this true, a good food, or is it adulterated? Is it, like Coca-Cola? Coca-Cola, you can find a lot of things which are similar to Coca-Cola. You have the same color, similar bottle, a similar name, and if you are not careful, you buy something and you think that it is Coca-Cola. And then when you taste it, it is different. So, in the beginning, with quality, we mainly focus on having the true thing. It's not being added to, it's not being adulterated, and it is not a fake. Okay? But then, yes, come on. We start with speaking about other attributes of these. Okay? So, we said that food quality is the sum of all properties and attributes of food items that are acceptable to the consumer. So the quality depends a lot also on the consumer. These food quality attributes can be either intrinsic, things which you can feel, which you can smell, which you can measure, or extrinsic, attributes which are not tangible. Which you cannot really measure. For instance, a brand name, or an etiquette process. Okay, these you cannot measure. So, with food quality, we have the consumer who is buying the food. And the consumer, he has expectations. Okay? You go to the market, you look, for instance, at fruit, and you are trying to buy banana. Some consumers, they decide on the color. Okay? They like the banana not very ripe, so they expect yellow, maybe slightly green color. Others may like to have it more mature, darker color. The producer, he tries to make specifications which meet the expectations. So, if for instance, if in India you have people like to have hot curries, okay? If you come to Europe and you go to a restaurant and ask for the same dish, probably in Europe, in England, for instance, you will get a variation of that recipe that will not be so spicy, because Europeans, in general, they do not like very hot food. But a lot of Asian people, they expect to have a spicy dish. So the expectations change. If you go, for instance, to Scandinavia, to Denmark, or Norway, usually if you do hot food, these people, when they eat their food, they are very hot. Yes?
Yes, yes.
They become very red. They cannot tolerate very spicy food. Okay? So in this case, the kitchen where they are preparing their food, they will not use the same amount as we use in India. They will use less. And maybe they will add some other ingredient to make it better for the customer, in this case, Scandinavian people, maybe they will add more coconut, so that it is less hot. Yes? And maybe some sugar. Okay. So this is very important. And when the expectations meet the producer's specifications, then the consumer will be very pleased, because he is getting exactly what he expects. And that would be the ideal. But the consumers, they are not the same. For instance, I am Maltese, and most Maltese do not like very hot food. But I like hot food. So when I go to a restaurant and I want to have my curry, I tell them, please, make it a bit hot. Okay? Because in general, Maltese do not expect to have very spicy food. Okay. So, in Europe, we have this legislation. Yes, it's going to be a bit boring, because I have to mention this. There is a legislation. One by one. Good, good. Good. So, I'm sure that in India you have also legislation, but in Europe we have the 1169. Labeling regulation, and this regulation, which was in 2011, amends, changes regulations, other regulations, which are also concerned with labeling. For instance, this one, 194, which is nutrition and health claims, and this one, 195, on addition of essential nutrients to food. So, this 1169 is a general law on labeling. So, if you have cheese, if you have meat, if you have rice, if you have pasta, all of these have to follow this regulation. But then there are specific regulations. For instance, for cheese, for meat, for other commodities. And in this case, the specific legislation for a specific commodity takes over. Okay? So when one has to check on legislation, one has to check the general, this one, and very specific legislation, like we mentioned meat. What are the aims, the objectives of food labeling? Okay? Customers have a right to be provided with essential information by the food supplier in order for me to make a good decision when I go to the supermarket. I have to be informed. So if I want to buy pasta and I have 20 different pasta, I want to make an informed decision. I don't choose on color, because this one is yellow, and this one is brown, and this one. You have to check the information, and this is why you have this legislation, so that you can make informed decisions before you buy the food. And the information must be accurate. You know what accurate means?
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay. Another word for this exactly. It has to be accurate. It is not always the very accurate. It has to be easy to see and understand. easy to see. It means it cannot be so small that you cannot read it. Okay? The minimum size, I think, is about 1.2 millimeters, which is quite small. It has to be legible. Not misleading, it should not give you the impression of something which is not true. Okay? This happens in my opinion. And it is very evident, this one, misleading or noise. I mentioned to you last time, you find a lot of bottles of oil saying cholesterol free, no cholesterol. You do not find cholesterol in vegetable oils. So when there is written cholesterol free or oil, that is misleading because it is trying to give you the impression that the soil is special because it does not contain cholesterol. But in fact, all edible oils, they are without cholesterol. If they are vegetable, okay? So it has to be accurate, easy to see and understand. Now, easy to see, that means it has to be on a white background or a background which you can read. The size has to be large enough, okay?
Yeah.
And the language has to be an official language. I cannot have in Malta a food label in some Asian language because in Malta, Maltese usually do not
Yes.
understand these languages.
Yes.
So there has to be a translation. If we import things from India and China, there has to be relabeling, another label. Okay? Otherwise, it is not understandable, even if we import from Germany or from Spain. There has to be in English also, or some other language which can be read. And indelible. You know what indelible means? Indelible. Indelible means that the labeling does not come off. It stays there.
Yeah.
Okay? That means if I touch handle the bottle, it will not get in on my hand and the labeling will get smashed. Okay? It has to be an indelible, a permanent labeling. The information has to be indelible. Okay. Now, this regulation applies to all the foods intended for consumption, including foods delivered to us and to mass caterers. So, even food, please, even food, which is prepared by companies. For instance, somebody who is preparing food for parties, they get the food in bulk, sets, big boxes, like large jerry cans. So even that food, it has to be labeled according to the legislation. And the areas covered by this legislation include nutritional information, so that you know how much calories there are, protein, carbohydrates, fats. Okay, this has to be included. Origin, where it is coming from. If it is coming from Venezuela, we have to know that it is coming from Venezuela, not from South America. We have to know the origin. Legibility, we spoke about this. the law says that the information has to be legible. That means you can read it and you can understand it. Okay? You have to be able to read it, it has to be clear, and you have to understand it. Allergens, you know what allergens are? Yes. Give me some examples of allergens.
Peanuts.
Peanuts.
Mustard.
What else?
Mustard.
Mustard.
There
Yes.
are 14 allergens, right?
Cheers.
Total 14.
14. I never know. Maybe.
Yes.
Okay. So you.
Milk, egg, and
Yes, good.
peanuts.
Peanuts. Some mollusks, fish.
Fish, meat.
Yes.
Mm,
Yes, we'll see them. But, okay. Allergens are very important. We'll speak about them. And other horizontal issues. Now, horizontal issues. Horizontal issues means that parameters or issues which are for all the foods, for instance, weight or volume. If I buy any food or weight in bottles, I should have a volume. Yes, how much I have. So when I cannot beer, I have to have the volume, 500 milliliters or 330 milliliters. Yes? If I buy a bag of peanuts, I have to have the weight. And the weight would be around 250 grams,
Yes.
500 grams. So, here, there are various horizontal issues, okay, which are applicable to work. I don't know what happened there. So this is extra. This one. So let's have a look at the regulation. So chapter 1 is general provisions. It tells you why the legislation and gives you definitions. Chapter 2, we have objectives, principles governing mandatory food information. Chapter 3, fair information practices and responsibilities. This speaks about who is responsible. The main is the supplier, the manufacturer. They have to make sure that the information is according to legislation. Chapter 4 is mandatory information, and we are talking about some of the contents, presentation, legal provisions, no-fiction declaration, and then chapter 5, we have voluntary information, because you can give additional information, which is voluntary, but not required by law. National measures, 6 and 7 final provisions. List of mandatory information on food labeling. So this is the mandatory, which has to be there. Okay? You have no option. The name of the food. You can't have a box of rice. And I don't know, you get something. John's meat. That doesn't mean anything. The name has to be clear. Ingredients. You have to know what that food is made of. Any allergens, and this is very important, with some food you need quantitative ingredient declaration. Quantitative ingredient declaration means that you have the amount of the ingredient. Okay? So, for instance, when you buy jam, strawberry jam, or peach jam, or orange jam, you should always have the percentage of the orange or the strawberry or the fruit, whatever. That would be a requirement. Net quantity of food, this we mentioned about it, is either volume or weight, date of minimum durability or use by date, the expiry date, that has to be there. Any special storage conditions or conditions of use. So, if you take note when you buy food, for instance, from the freezer, you get, what's it? You get the shelf life also. You get more than one shelf life. You get 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, and you have different dates. Did you do this with Anna? Frozen foods. The shelf life for frozen foods. Shelf life. Do you know what the star represents on frozen food? On the package of frozen food, you get stars.
Yes.
Each star is minus 6 degrees centigrade. So 2 stars is minus 12. 3 star minus 18. 4 star minus 24 degrees centigrade. And you have the shelf life. The shelf life varies on the freezer temperature. So, if you have 4 star, you will have a longer shelf life. Because it is at minus 24. If you have 2 star, it's at minus 12. And the shelf life would be much shorter. Okay? So, any storage conditions in this case, frozen food, it has to give you the shelf life for different types of storage, of freezers. Okay? Example. Name or business name and address of phone business operator. So there should be the name of the company making and distributing the food. So that in case you have a complaint, you can refer to these people. Okay? For instance, here I'm showing the instructions. What is this? Safe handling instructions. This is some kind of meat. It is very
Oh, coba tuh ya. Tangan bawa selina.
The instructions are very important, because some foods, if you don't cook it properly, it can be dangerous.
Yes.
Okay? So often you get instructions when you have frozen food or semi-cooked food, you have instructions how to cook it. If you cook it on open flame, in the oven, or microwave. And the time will be different. Yes, it's coming. For instance, you know there is powdered tomato soup. You get tomato soup in powder. Yes, you open the sachet. You pour the powder and you eat for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and then you have the soup. Now, some people use it as a sauce for pasta. And what they do, they put the boiled pasta, and then they just put this powder on top of the pasta, mix it, and eat it like that. That is dangerous. We should not use the tomato sauce as a soup, as a tomato sauce. Because when you heat it just with the pasta, there may be some germs which will survive. And you can easily get food poisoning. Okay?
Finish.
I have a problem, okay? They're trying to please them. So,
Okay,
try
okay.
to be quiet.
Sorry, finish.
So, list of the information of food labels. Country of origin or place of provenance. The place of provenance means where it was grown, okay? Defined. And that is used when animals are grown, slaughtered, and processed in the same country. Instructions for use, where it would be difficult to make appropriate use of the food in the absence of such instructions. Again, instructions. Instructions are very important, especially if food is from another country, like cassava. You use cassava? I don't know. You don't know cassava? No. Cassava is a plant from Africa. And Africans, they know how to cook.